what Jesus is saying is you are not intimately connected to God through prayer, and therefore you're not able to walk into my power. Think of it like a vacuum. When you vacuum and you have the extension cord that carries the vacuum part to the wall part, the outlet. And so the power comes from the outlet through the extension cord into the vacuum. If you try and vacuum without being plugged into the wall, you will not clean anything. You might even make a bigger mess. So we, the disciples, sometimes what we'll do is, he says, you're not plugged into the wall. If you're plugged into the wall, then you'll be able to carry my power. If you're not plugged into the wall and you're trying to walk in your own power, not a great success. You're going to fail. I think this happens with us when some of us, become Christians. You get victory over some sort of sin, and then that sin doesn't scare you anymore. That fight or that battle doesn't scare you anymore. So the disciple, probably the first time a disciple cast out a demon, that was probably a terrifying experience, right? Coming up to a demon and just, that thing could take me out, but get out of him. Oh my gosh, that worked. And you're more surprised that the power of God worked through you than you are that the demon actually left. Yes, but after doing that for a long time, do you think that the scare of that kind of wears off? The holy fear of, if without God's power, I'm going to lose this fight wears off? Anybody? Maybe you beat an addiction, maybe you had victory over some sort of sin in your life, and at first it was completely, wow, I would have no hope of being out of this if it wasn't for God and His grace. And then 2 months later, you're like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't even bother me, I got it, right? Suddenly you're awesome and you beat that sin. So what that shows is that the disciples feel they've graduated from the gospel. They feel that they got saved, right? They understand that faith in the gospel sparks the Christian life, but the next level isn't really true for them, that faith in the gospel fuels the Christian life, right? They think, okay, so Jesus and all that got me in, but now it's about my good work. Now it's about the good things I've done. Now it's about fill in the blank, right? And so the problem is with that, it's grace that saves you and it's grace that keeps you. You can see that in Titus 11 and 12, where it says that grace brought salvation to all men and it trains us in godliness. Right? It's all of grace. It's all of the gospel. The gospel saves and it sanctifies. When I was a kid, I used to read this book. I wonder where it is, but I read this book about a guy named Popeye. Anybody a fan of Popeye the Sailor Man? Toot, toot. There it is. All right. That's all. Toot, toot. Good stuff. So, Popeye, I didn't know this at first, but in preparation for my sermon, I was YouTubing a couple Popeye YouTube clips, and every story is exactly the same. Popeye gets in some sort of trouble, and then gets into a fist fight. And then he gets mercilessly pounded into the ground for about almost the entire fist fight. And right at the end, when he's about to be thrown into wherever, thrown off the boat in the case of this book, I think, he was fighting a swordfish in the book that I read, which is interesting. But he finds the what? Yeah, he finds that spinach. And he opens up the spinach, ripped, and eats it, and suddenly he's the most jacked man in the world, right? His forearms just swell to like 19 times their size, and the anchor tattoos light up, right? Looks like he should go to Stone's Throw, jacked with tattoos. My concern with that story always is, why do you wait till the end of the fight to pull out the spinach? Probably to make it like a longer book or a longer TV show, depending on which generation you're in. But why would you, if I were Popeye and I knew that spinach would make me jacked to be able to take anyone in a fight, I would walk around really dangerous neighborhoods with a can of spinach just waiting for something to start, right? Oh, I would just go to it would be fun. So that's what I would do, right? Maybe that's my sinful nature. We'll talk about that later. But I think disciples are a lot like Popeye sometimes, right? We have this power of God, right? We know that God is able to work power in us, but we're like, you know what? He's busy. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's saving Africa right now. You take the other continents. I got this, right? And so suddenly that thing that used to be a really holy fear for us becomes something that that's just, we can do it on our own. We got this, God. Do you ever got it? Yes or no? No? All right, good. See, that's a good disciple. You're learning. So that's what we're like. We think that we've graduated from the gospel, and we don't understand that faith in the gospel saves and it sanctifies. It starts the Christian life and it fuels the Christian life. And so the question to ask yourself here is, where are you trying to walk in your own power instead of the power of God?